Hello, fellow truth seekers. My name is Nicole DeCenzo, and welcome to my weekly devotional. Today, I want to talk to you a little bit about a character we find in Revelation known as the Antichrist. And last week, I told you that we were going to be looking at some of Islamic theology, and that's what we are definitely going to do today. But first off, I want to give you what the Antichrist looks like according to our end-time worldview. What does this character do? Okay, first of all, this character comes on the scene according to Revelation chapter 6, verse 1 and 2. He is trying to be a peaceful character, as in, he comes with a crown on his head, so we know he's going to be successful, and he's carrying a bow in his hand, but he is not carrying any arrows, meaning he's coming on the world stage, coming peacefully. He is not making war. This matches Daniel chapter 8, verse 25, where it says, by peace he will destroy many. Meaning, even though he comes in peace, pretty soon his true colors will be made known. And what happens, according to Daniel chapter 9, verse 27, is that this character makes a 7-year peace treaty with the nation of Israel. But at the midpoint, he breaks the treaty. So 3.5 years into it, he breaks the treaty and causes mass chaos, mass persecution. This also matches 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4, where it says, he takes his seat in the temple of God, displaying himself as being God. So the Antichrist comes peacefully, but he is a deceiver, according to Daniel, and at the midpoint, he's going to break that treaty, declare himself God, and start persecuting the saints and the nation of Israel, according to Revelation chapter 12. So this character is going to come, and he's going to make his religion, his worldview, try to make that dominant over the face of the globe. And we know that, according to Revelation, he is going to institute something called the mark of the beast, where you can't buy or sell unless you have his mark. So if you cannot buy and sell, if you don't have his mark, then you are going to either start dying because you can't get food and you can't get medical supplies, and eventually he is going to kill you if you do not convert to his worldview. And that, according to Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, the way he's going to kill people is beheading. Okay, so I want to pause here because you probably had something come to your mind because ISIS is over there beheading people. The Middle Eastern culture is the only culture that really does this anymore. So let's look at Islamic theology about the end times. Now, you're not going to find this stuff in the Quran. The Quran is basically Allah's words through Muhammad written down. But where we find the end time theology of Islam is something called the Hadiths, and the Hadiths are papers that were written with Muhammad's followers. So Muhammad's followers came in and said, Muhammad said this to me, and he did this, and they wrote down Muhammad's words and what he did. And so the Hadiths are basically Muhammad's words and actions according to someone that is close to him. Okay, so that's where we get Islamic end-time theology, and what they believe is that a character is going to come to power in the end times called the Mahdi, or the 12th Imam, also known as the guided one or the promised one. If you've listened to anything that Ahmadinejad said in the past couple of years, he always called this figure the 12th Imam, okay, the promised one, the coming one. This is their Messiah figure, okay? This is who they are looking for, this great person that their hopes are on, okay? And this Messiah figure, this Mahdi, is supposed to lead something called the Caliphate. And the Caliphate is kind of like the United States of Islam. It's about like all those nations over there in the Middle East coming together and forming like an empire. That's the Caliphate. And we have already seen in the news this ISIS has declared the Caliphate. Now, according to Revelation, it's going to be needs to be a lot bigger in order for it to be the end time beast. But this beast is starting right now before our eyes. ISIS is trying to form this caliphate, and so this person, the Mahdi, is supposed to come to power, lead the caliphate, and guess what? He's supposed to make a 7-year peace treaty with Israel. Sound familiar? Now, listen to what Islamic beliefs are. Muhammad did this when he was trying to conquer territories and those people did not want to listen to his views. What he did is he made treaties with them, and perhaps these people were stronger people. So he made a treaty with them, and what he did is he backed off and he regrouped and prepared for war and grew stronger. And once he grew strong, he went in and broke the treaty and conquered the people that he had made the treaty with. According to Islamic rules, a treaty is not binding unless you make it with another Muslim nation. And so Muhammad, the treaties that he made, he didn't consider them binding. He went in and broke them, and he made treaties in order to regroup and prepare for war and then go in and take over. And that's exactly what we see happening in Revelation. This guy comes on the scene, the Antichrist, makes a 7-year treaty that's the same, that it matches exactly the same of Islamic end-time theology. He makes a 7-year treaty, and at the midpoint, he breaks the treaty. To our Western mindset, it doesn't make any sense that he would do this if he made a treaty for 7 years. But in Islamic thought, that is perfectly rational, because a treaty with a non-Muslim nation is not binding, and why they make treaties is to regroup, to prepare for war, to become stronger, and then try to crush them when they think they can. Okay, so these things match eye to eye, nose to nose. Now, this Mahdi is supposed to try to take over the globe and institute a new world order for Islam, meaning he's going to institute Sharia law. He's going to cause people to submit or be killed if you do not believe in his ideology. Okay, this matches Revelation and what the Antichrist does in Revelation. He tries to conquer the world, institute a new world order, okay? And so we need to be very, very aware of this when we're looking at ISIS and trying to grow the caliphate and trying to usher in this coming one. That is what they want to do. They're not going to stop at the Middle East. They want to take over the globe. Sharia law is already practiced in England. They can be tried if it's a civil case, they can be tried in their own courts by Sharia law. In the United States of America, we have actually tried cases based on Sharia law. This is extremely dangerous because this is what the beast of Revelation wants to do. Also, I mentioned beheading. That is the way the saints are killed in Revelation, is by beheading. This is the only culture that still uses this, and we see this over and over in the news today. They're using beheadings to take out the Christians. And so what we need to understand is a lot of the Christian church is looking for Rome and Europe to be that final beast of Revelation that rises up. But if you look at Revelation, dig in deep, what it's really talking about is the caliphate and the leader of the caliphate trying to take over the world. One more thing I want to say. There's a couple trains of thought on this. There's two ways you can look at this if you are Islamic believer. Some of them believe that in order for the Mahdi to come, there has to be mass chaos in the world. So they try to create this chaos. That was Ahmadinejad. He wants to make chaos in order to usher in the promised one, or the Mahdi, in order to lead this empire into a new world order, okay? But the other side of the coin says, no, we don't need to do anything for the Mahdi to come. The Mahdi is going to come on his own time, and then we need to wage mass chaos in order to usher in the new world order, or the Islamic State, around the world. So some trains of thought say chaos now, then he will rise. Others say, no, let's wait for him to rise, and then we create chaos. Now, I caution you, I'm not saying all Muslims out there are looking into this end-time theology and believe this stuff. But what I am saying to you is there's going to be a lot more radical Muslims out there when this person rises up, because some feel they need to wait in order to wage the chaos. So we need to have our eyes wide open. We need to stop ISIS, because this is probably the initial phase of the growing of the beast. And Satan is standing on that seashore, according to Revelation chapter 12, trying to grow this beast, and we need to crush it in any way, shape, or form we can. So I know that was a lot for today. We are not done talking about Islamic theology and end-time theology. If you want to go deeper, please get my book, Revelation in Black and White. It's a workbook that's going to walk you through Revelation. You'll have a clear view of what we are going to go through in the end times, and what the beast will actually look like. So I hope this is in some way just touched you this week, and maybe that gives you something to think about actually for the rest of the week. And I will see you back here next week.